What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. And in this video, we are reacting to another article. And this time, it's an article about a free agent that's a pretty big name. Y'all are probably tired of hearing the little names like Daryl Roberts. Well, today you are going to hear about Jadeveon Clowney. And I know some people really want him, some people don't want him because of the contract. And that's really what it comes down to. This is maybe the biggest name left available in free agency. He obviously wants one of the most available in free agency right now. And, I'm at a really tough position. I was working on a video for him. I took so many numbers down. And we'll read those as we go through the article as well. That's apparently going to persuade us on why the Lions should be interested and they should win this Clowney sweepstakes to go sign him. There's a lot of things we know about him so far, what he's been asking, right? The initial ask price was $20 million. Then reportedly it's like $17 million now. However, he did deny a $17 million a year contract from the Dolphins. So maybe he wants to play for a winner. Well, if he wants to play for a winner, that's probably not the Lions. Obviously, the Lions have somewhere around $30 million in cap space. You need $12 million for the draft right now projected. That's what is projected right now with the Lions picks. If they trade back, probably a little bit more, especially if they acquire another first-round pick, much more. So it's kind of crazy. Let's read this by Matt Connor. If we did get a guy like Clowney, it would open up a lot of things. Definitely, Chase Young wouldn't be a must. It would be nice still, but it definitely wouldn't be a must. You'd probably go with a guy like Okudah or Isaiah Simmons, which would be obviously great. And so let's just react to this. This is crazy. I'll give you guys my thoughts. Let's go. If those in leadership of the Detroit Lions want to live to see another season, they must win the Jadeveon Clowney sweepstakes this offseason. And boom, that's the first point I came to. I'm thinking about Clowney, and I'm like, okay. I'm good with saving money. I think it's important to save money and have money for the future and have money for rainy days. Obviously, you need money for the draft. That's not important. That is a must. But, if you're going to just hold it, why not go out and get maybe the best pass rusher available? And I know last season was definitely a down year, and I think there's reasons for that for sure. Keep in mind, he only started in 11 games last season. He wasn't with the Texans. If he was with the Lions, he'd have Trey Flowers, Danny Shelton, those guys on the D-line. He'd be pairing with them. He would be an absolute monster. The years that he was great, he was actually listed as a linebacker/defensive end, so he could play that jack role possibly like Devon Kennard, just completely rush all the time because he didn't play in the pass at all. He never dropped back. He's this guy going to get pressure, all right? He graded out incredibly well in the last two seasons. He was a Pro Bowler for 2016, 17, and 18, I believe. Drafted back in 2014, the first pick in the draft of the Texans. He's a great player. He's a really good player. The contract is the big problem here, and especially if he wants to play for a winner, then obviously you're not probably going to get him. But wow, there's tons of teams interested. I've heard the Browns are interested, Seattle's interested. Again, the Lions were rumored to be interested back on March 30th. The Falcons, the Bills, obviously the Dolphins were because they offered him a deal. However, he declined that. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. We're going to read this, see what he has to say, and then I'll just give you guys my thoughts. I don't know if I'm going to give you guys an answer on this one. It's no secret Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn and company are feeling the heat this offseason. Exactly. After Lions' complete meltdown last season, after a competitive September, Patricia's record as head coach is miserable, 9-22-1. 2 years, right. Defense has been very bad. To his credit, Patricia has never had an overly talented roster to work with, and it doesn't help if Matt Patricia goes down with an injury, okay? But if the team somehow does eclipse last year's win total, let alone 6 wins in 2018, they need to keep spending. I agree. I think, you gotta go get players, man. I think players play, right? You gotta get players that play. I think coaches coach. They need to coach well, and you also need players that play. In particular, the Lions need to reel in a major acquisition. Now, they didn't really do that this year in a fun, exciting way. They got Big V, right, a tackle. Woo! They got Jamie Collins. Good player, right? But they didn't really go get that guy. It's like, oh, wow, like last year when they got Trey Flowers. And there's reasons to that, obviously. But let's read it. It says, right now, Clowney has reportedly lowered his asking price from $20 million annually to somewhere north of 17. Okay. Like I said. Yet, even at that initial figure, Clowney is a must-have for the Lions organization. Not someone like Clowney, but the man himself. All right, let's see what you got to say here, Matt. Last season, the team had made a big free agent splash with Trey Flowers, like I just said, an expensive import from New England Patriots, who was brought in to be the pass-rushing cornerstone to rebuild Patricia's defense. Okay, and I think he got better season on, 7 sacks. The Lions need something on the other side. I agree. Last year, Lions had only 28 sacks, which was the second lowest. I think that was 29th in the league, so I think it was third. Was it the second lowest? 5 more than Dolphins, ranked as the single worst team in ESPN's pass rush win rate behind the Dolphins. Yikes. The only player with more sacks on Lions last year was linebacker Devon Kennard, who's now with the Cardinals, right? Devon Kennard's gone. Jared Davis had 2, and the Lions reportedly replaced a first-round linebacker on the trade block. That came up as a false rumor. This part right here came up, and the Lions said, hey, that's not true. I'm not sure if it is or not. That was something we talked about. However, it came back as false, but I don't know. Obviously, we have no idea. Jamie Collins brought in as a replacement, but his stats have dropped anytime he's left New England. Patricia can only hope to be a similar system, can yield similar results. I don't think he's going to be the next Devon Kennard either. The front front line itself has been completely revamped, but it's hard to believe the results will yield anything better last season. Snacks Harrison gone, Mike Daniels gone, Ashawn Robinson. Those performers might be getting older with limited ceilings or injury concerns, but still dependable. Okay, well, it wasn't very dependable, so I don't agree with that. I don't think Mike Daniels was dependable at all with all the injuries. Snacks Harrison had his worst year. Ashawn Robinson was never that good. Danny Shelton and Nick Williams are the replacements thus far, but the former is coming off of a contract year, and the latter just had his first official sacks last year at the age of 29, right? Nick Williams had 6. On a deeper line, Williams is a fine rotational lineman, and Shelton is a decent 2-down anchor. On this line, they are tasked to do too much and support it. Okay, I think you could probably make that. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Then again, the Lions have been playing this game all offseason. Offensive tackle Rick Wagner is replaced by a Big V, who has started a total of 4 games in the last 2 years. Even worse, trading Darius Slay to the Eagles, being forced to use number 3 pick on Jeff Okudah to replace him. Okudah is a safe bet at lockdown corner, but there's no reason this team to not employ him alongside Slay for a serious unit upgrade in secondary. Well, that was a mess. So I completely understand why he's not here anymore. That was a complete mess. I'm not, going to get into whose fault it was, but it was a mess. Then again, the Lions haven't. Okay, I already read that. Here's the good news on all of this. Corey Undlin is the new defense coordinator. Paul Pasqualoni's passive defense gave up every big play when you'd expect them to fall apart most. Undlin's bound for better performance here, even as a change of pace, and he's given them a lot of new players at each level. However, the front 7 needs a major infusion. I completely agree of impactful talent, and the draft isn't going to give it to them if Okudah's a man. That's pretty much facts. I mean, you can get some solid players later for sure, but over the last 5 years, Jadeveon Clowney has hit the quarterback 80 times, 68 other tackles for loss, put up 32 sacks, and forced 8 fumbles. He has also had 4 defensive touchdowns in that span. Across from Flowers, he would be forced defenses respect both sides with the game plan and force the quarterback to make quicker decisions than ever. A real plus when a secondary has been remade with Okudah at the top. Yeah, I think if you get a guy like Clowney, Okudah becomes probably that number 1 option. Maybe Simmons still. I mean, still, that'd stack it. But you could definitely go Okudah then. Right now, Clowney's agents are likely sizing up their offers in order to make a decision at some point. Cleveland Browns are rumored to be in the mix. Seattle Seahawks want Clowney back too. The Giants, the Falcons, the Bills, pretending as if Clowney will remain available forever with a price that will continue to come down in marriage. Okay. The Lions are currently sitting on $30.9 million in cap space with a few million every year to bring in the likes of Marcus Golden. Is at this point your choice between being employed or not. Ouch. He just had him with Marcus Golden ain't bad, but yeah, okay. Clowney is the only true impact player left available for a long-term deal. There is something to be said about importing Everson Griffin for a year unless the Lions are trying to make some trade work with Jones or Yannick, right? But again, why surrender draft assets when you can get a proven edge rusher that is right there waiting? The revolving door of middling talent has likely already done the Lions' leadership at this point. The losses have already piled up, and even with Clowney, the Lions are likely the bottom feeders once again. You didn't have to be like that. At least the signing would anchor the side to pass rush and give Lions defense a fighting chance to get better under a new coordinator. Okay, wow. I agree with some of that, most of it. I wouldn't say all of it. I agree with most of it. But I would say, like I was saying before, I'm kind of at that point. It's like, man, if you got the money to do it, at some point you got to spend it. Like, especially now. There's a difference between taking dumb risk and taking a risk that, you're trying to save your job. You know what I'm saying? You're not giving up draft picks. You're spending your money to try to save your job. Now, I understand that at $20 million, he is out of our budget. You got to save $12 million for the draft, possibly more if you trade back. So if that's the case, he's kind of out of your budget. You can't even do it. But again, if you could offer him somewhere around 15, maybe like that, maybe 16. If you want to go to 17 million, which reportedly is what he's asking for, you'd have to drop someone else. I don't know who that would be. You already dropped Devon Kennard, so I really don't know who you would drop on this defense. You would have to drop someone else, though, I'm assuming, or maybe a few players, and then you could bring in him, and obviously, yeah, it would allow you to do the draft. If the Lions can financially make this happen and still have money for the draft, and maybe like a couple mil in case they really need it down the stretch, I think it makes sense to take it and just say, hey, let's go try to make something happen, or at least try to offer him. If he declines it, he declines it, but at least go out there and try to make it happen. I don't know if they have or not. It hasn't been reported that they have. Looking at some PFF numbers, he has been ridiculous. Last season, 87.3 overall, 80.8 against the run, 79.1 to rush, 22 total tackles, 3 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. Again, that was with Seattle, and he only played in 11 games started. Then with the Texans, 2018, 89.2 overall, 91.7 against the run, 79.7 in rushing, 36 total tackles, 9 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. So the numbers are there. I really don't know. I'm going to keep it simple. All right, here's my thoughts. If you disagree, that's cool. if the Lions can financially somehow make this happen, or at least try to offer him a reasonable contract, if that means dropping somebody, whatever they have to do, if they can reasonably offer this deal with still having money to do what they have to do when it comes to the draft, I would do it. I don't love him. He's not my favorite edge rusher. He grades out well. He's not my favorite. 3 sacks last season is pretty concerning, even though he did only start 11 games. But I think at the same time, it's like you got to win some football games. And I want Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia to succeed. They've been here for Bob Quinn's going on his 5th year. Matt Patricia's going on his 3rd. All right, we want to see winning football, whoever it is coaching, right? So for their sake, let's go make it happen, right? Especially if we're going to go Okudah in the 1st round, then you're relying on later round picks. And I'm not saying they can't work at edge, but I'm just saying there's always a risk. Not all past 1st round picks are going to start. 2nd round hasn't been very pretty to us. We've had Amir Abdullah. We've had some really bad Tees Tabors. We haven't been great in the 2nd round. The 3rd round has been good to us. I'll give us that. And we have 2 3rd round picks. So, whatever you got to do, I'm just saying, hey, if you can financially, go out there and offer him a contract, I would. But again, if it's like going to be at the point where we got to release a really good player to make it happen, then don't do it, obviously. But I don't know. I mean, I want to see them keep their jobs, and I want to see them succeed. So we'll see what happens. Let me know in the comments. This is hard. It's hard. I really don't know what to say about this one. I can't give you a yes or no, honestly. I guess we'll just see what happens. If they do it, they do it. If they don't, they don't. Until next time, though, I appreciate all of you guys stopping in. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.